that because I walk all over the place.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
This isn't good.
Forgot to mention that part, didn't I?
Yes.
Oh, well. There's going to be bumps along the way, right? 3 separate households. 3 young mothers preparing Sunday dinner with 3 little daughters watching, learning, asking questions. And each of them takes out a roasting pan, and then each of them takes out a ham, carefully slices off 3 inches on this end of the ham, 3 inches on this end of the ham, tosses them in the trash. And the little girls, as little girls do, ask, "Mommy, why did you cut off the ends of the ham?" And each of those 3 mothers replies, "Well, I learned how to cook Sunday ham from my mother, and that's how she did it. But I don't know why. Let's call Grandma." 3 phone calls made to 3 separate grandmas. And the conversation goes like this: "Mom, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching you, and I always cut off the ends of the ham just like you did. But I don't know why. Why?" And 3 grandmas reply, "Well, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching my mother, and that's how she always did it. But I don't know why. So let's go visit great-grandma at the nursing home." So 3 separate generations of families go to 3 different nursing homes. And the conversation in the Smith household went like this: "Mom, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching you, and I always cut off the ends just like you did, but I don't know why. Why?" And Mrs. Smith replies, "Well, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching the cook in our household. And she explained to me that if you don't cut off the ends of the ham when you put it in the oven and it rises, it'll rise too much and explode." The conversation in the Jones household went like this: "Mom, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching you. You always cut off the ends, so do I, but I don't know why. Why?" Mrs. Jones starts to laugh. And she says, "Oh, child, cut off the ends of the ham because my roaster was only 18 inches long." The conversation in the Thomas household went like this: "Mom, I learned how to cook Sunday ham watching you at work. And you always cut off each end of the ham, put it in a garbage bag. So that's what I do. But I don't know why." And Mrs. Thomas smiles, a little bit of a devious smile. And she says, "Oh yes, my employer wanted Sunday ham every 4th Sunday of the month. But let me tell you, child, in the 20 years that I worked for Mrs. Smith, cooking every Sunday ham dinner, every Thanksgiving dinner, every Christmas dinner, and every dinner in between for 20 years, that stingy old woman never once gave me a raise. She never once gave me a bonus. And she rarely ever so much as offered a thank you for all of the sacrifices that I made to make sure that her family was taken care of, often at the expense of my own family." Well, let me tell you, we may have been poor, and we may have struggled for everything, and there were many days that we went hungry in the Thomas household, but every 4th Sunday of the month, I took off the ends of the ham, and I explained to her it would rise and it would blow up, and I put those in a trash bag. And at the end of the day, when I was leaving, I took the trash out. And I stuck those slices of ham in my pocket. So we may have struggled and we may have been poor, but every 4th Sunday of the month, my family had a good Sunday ham dinner. 3 households, the same tradition. tradition. One household discovered that their tradition was based on nothing that was really relevant to their lives. So from then on, they just stopped cutting off the ends of the ham. One household discovered that their tradition actually was based on a lie, on a falsehood. But they decided, you know what, they kind of like their ham with the ends cut off. So they kept on doing it, but they understood why they did it. And one household discovered that their tradition was based on a deep, meaningful family history. And they continued to cut off the ends of the ham. But you know, instead of throwing them away, they served them on a separate platter in honor of great-grandma's sacrifices for the family. The Israelites in Babylon were carrying on lots of traditions that they had even turned into laws. And you know, after generations of living in exile, some of those traditions, they weren't even sure why they did them. Some of them they were carrying on the best they knew how or could remember. Their place of worship in Jerusalem, the temple, destroyed. And all they wanted was their Sunday ham dinner with the ends cut off. And I know they didn't eat ham. So fill in whatever meal you want to put in there. And they cried out to God, God, help us. Help us to have our Sunday ham. And through Isaiah, God's voice came back saying, I'm making everything new. Y'all aren't going to care about Sunday ham. It's not about Sunday ham. Everything is going to be different because I have something better for you. And God has something better for all of us here in Faith Family, here in the UCC, here in the nation, the Church Universal, here in this world. God has something better. God has PB&J. Oh, I hear you. I hear some of you going, oh, Laura, I'd rather have a grilled ham and cheese than PB&J. But not this PB&J. Because God's PB&J is peace, blessings, and joy. And my friends, we're here at Faith Family, we are still going to feast on Sunday ham. And we're going to explore it, though. We're going to decide if we like it with the ends cut off, why we cut off the ends in the first place. And maybe we're still going to cut off the ends. But we're going to know why we do it. But we're also going to feast on God's PB&J. Peace, blessings, and joy. And not only that, we're going to have all the amazing sides. Potatoes and grace. Baptism Brussels sprouts. Sacred salad. And the bread of life dripping with care. Is anybody else feeling hungry?
Yeah.
Anybody? Good. Good, because I want you to be hungry. I want all of us to hunger for that heavenly food. I want for our bellies to grumble in anticipation. Because I promise you, I know you're wondering, you're worried, you're wondering how things are going to be. I promise you, my friends, every person that walks through those doors, whether they are a member of Faith Family, whether they are a friend, whether they are a guest, or just a wandering wayfarer who happened to get here, every single one who comes through those doors is going to be fed at this table. And not only are they going to be fed with all of those wonderful things that I mentioned, but they are going to feast on the love, the welcome, the support, and the nurturing that all of us give them as we gather them in. Because that is the work of the church. Scott, none of my slides have gone.
Yeah.
Have they gone? Okay. Can you take it to the last one? There we go. Okay. All right. Thank you. So, that's the work of the church. The church within these four walls is our duty, and our work is to love each other, to love those who come here, and to feed them not only with the bread of life and the cup of salvation, but with that love, that nurturing, that welcome, and that acceptance. And then, once we've feasted on God's PB&J, peace, blessings, and joy, and we've had all the amazing sides, and we've had our Sunday ham dinner with the ends cut off or without the ends cut off, or however we choose, then we are going to take our picnic baskets full of God's PB&J, and we are going out into the world to feed others, because God's people are hungry. They're starving. They're starving because they have been feasting and eating spiritual junk food, which might sustain the body, but does not nourish the soul. And many of them, many of them are never going to find their way to this table. They're never going to find their way into our arms coming here. So we're going to take our arms and we're going to take our picnic baskets full of PB&J out to them. Are you with me?
Yes. Yeah.
This is when the work begins. Now you're thinking, well, January 5th. What's January 5th? Next Sunday is what is known in the church, for those of you who grew up in the Catholic or the more rigid liturgical calendar, you know it as Christ the King Sunday. We in the UCC know it as the Reign of Christ Sunday. It's, believe it or not, the last Sunday of the year. The Sunday after that starts Advent, when we begin preparing for the rebirth, if you will, of Jesus. Preparing for that light and that wonder. We're going to take this time. We're going to take this time during Advent and Christmas to get to know each other. Get to learn why we cut off the ends of the ham, and maybe we like turkey better. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to be hungry and we're going to be fed. And then once January 5th. Anybody know by any chance what January 5th is? I heard it. Epiphany. When the light of Christ, when the wise men finally found Jesus, by the way, which was not his baby in the manger. Okay. We'll look at that too. Then this is when we start that work out into the world, and this is how long I expect us to be working. Probably longer, because we're going to expect some delays. But this is my assurance to you. Church is going to go on. We're going to feast on love, acceptance, and God's PB&J, peace, blessings, and joy. And we will take that out into the world. Because I know all of you are already working, and all of you already know how good PB&J tastes. Amen?
Amen.